What's good, peeps? It's another late one. I did want to film earlier in the day or first thing in the morning like I normally do, but things got in the way. So we're filming it just gone midnight. It's just gone midnight, but we're going to get it done. A couple of reasons I'm filming now. A, because I couldn't film like I said in the morning, and B, because I am disappearing for a couple of days, people. I need a break, so I'm going away for a couple of days just to recharge the batteries, because I do feel like I'm burning out right now. I'm not joking. I feel like I'm burning out. I feel like I'm juggling this, talk sport, doing some stuff for Sky behind the scenes, and it's getting a lot. So I feel like I just need to get away. All right, there's so much to talk about. I think there's a lot to talk about, so this could be a long one. Apologies for Addy and friends. I do apologize, peeps. I genuinely apologize. I just couldn't get it done. And I'm disappointed because I really wanted to talk about, what did I want to talk about? I really want to talk about Eddie Hearn's first show at the Fight Camp. Is that what it's called? It's called Fight Camp, isn't it? Yeah, I wanted to talk about that and what people thought about the card. I wanted to grade the card. You know what? I might just do it now. I might just quickly grade the card. And I'm going to be honest as I can. Maybe too honest. Before we start, a couple of very quick things. The business is, I haven't forgot you. I just wanted to put it in order. I've not done that. I've not done it. And so we will get it done. You know what? I'm going to take my laptop and shit with me anyway. So I will put it in order as which ones came in first, to shout those out first. Another thing I wanted to say was thank you. Thank you to everyone. I don't think I say it enough, but thank you to everyone that has subscribed, everyone that reaches out, everyone that leaves a comment, everyone that watches the videos, because there are, I think, 90% of the people that watch every single video and to the end, which is unreal. So guys, thank you so much for following me for the last couple of years. I really appreciate it, because there are a number of, I think, good boxing channels out there. I think someone left a comment on one of the videos saying Ade is the best boxing YouTube channel out there. And I think someone responded saying, oh, Ade's good, but I think they said boxing beat and rhymes is better. Can I be honest with you? Just for me to even be considered up there, it's a thing. Like, if I'm in the top 25, I'll fucking take that. I'm not joking, I'll take that. So for someone to even suggest someone's better than me, I mean, that is no skin off my nose at all, because I think there are a number of videos, sorry, a number of YouTubers that are much better than me. So top 25, I'll take. If I'm not in your top 25, sorry, no, I'm in top 25. I'm tired, sorry, but I'm in top 25. All right, quick one. I just got this message from AJ, not AJ. I wish it was the AJ, but it's not AJ. AJ sent me a message. Hi, Ade, absolutely love your videos, especially how you've smashed out the content in this crap year. I've just had my first child 5 days ago. Elsa Grace, I think it's Elsa Grace, I-S-L-A. How do you pronounce that? And is that Elsa Grace? I think it is anyway. And it would literally make my year if you could give her a shout out and she hears your voice more than mine. Cheers, man. There's the shout out, dude. You know what? First and foremost, congratulations. That's a big thing, isn't it? Having your first child. Not that I know it, because I'm still waiting. We'll get there. But no, congratulations. I think it is Elsa Grace. If I've butchered that, please send it to me again, how it should be pronounced, and I'll reach out again and say it again. But congratulations, AJ, on your first child. It's a big thing. Well done, sir. Well done. All right, let's talk boxing. The first thing I want to talk about that I don't think is even on this list, because it was mentioned a couple of days ago, I think, is that Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. is going to be priced at $49.99. I don't know what that is or who's going to be the broadcaster over here. I don't know if we're going to get a broadcaster over here. I'm just guessing the company that are doing it, Triller, I think we can log in over here and pay. Now, I don't know if the price is going to be different for us in the UK. Obviously, we don't pay anything like that for pay-per-view, right? $49.99 is like, I'm guessing it's about £31, £32. We don't pay that. We don't pay that at all. I mean, it's just rose to £25 over here, and we've had a heart attack, so we're not paying £32. So I do wonder if it's going to be cheaper over here in the UK. I think when you think that certain pay-per-views in America are like $85, right? $85. I think a reasonable price over here would be £10. I think that would be reasonable, but I don't know how they're going to do that, because I can imagine a lot of people would just do a VPN and, you know, hopefully everyone knows what a VPN is, and kind of get it for the UK price. So I don't know how they're going to do that. Again, I don't know if a broadcaster is going to pick it up. I think it would be very smart of a broadcaster to pick it up over here. A BT Sports, take that. I think it'll do good numbers. Even if it isn't a pay-per-view, even if it's just on regular BT Sports at 4 or 5 a.m., I think it'll be good numbers. This isn't coffee, by the way. It's green tea, decaffeinated, because I want to go sleep. What do you guys think about that? I did say that I think that would be the price. I think I actually said something like $40. So I think $49 is kind of where I was leading to. I don't think that's a crazy price. It kind of is a crazy price if you think about it. We're watching a 53-year-old or 54-year-old Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr., who must be around the same age, I'm guessing. So it is crazy when you think of it like that. Plus, it's an 8-round exhibition fight. I still don't know why it's an exhibition. I'm guessing one of them, maybe both of them, wouldn't be able to get licensed, and hence why they've just said it's an exhibition, and hence why it's bigger gloves, but really and truly it's a fight. I know they're doing a bunch of YouTubers on there as well. I think Jake Paul's fighting. I'm telling you now, I know people have sniggered at this. It's going to do massive numbers. It's going to do incredible numbers. $49.99. I would be shocked if at that price it doesn't do 1.5 million pay-per-view buys. I know people are going to say, Ade, calm down. No, I think it will do something crazy like that. Just because it's Mike Tyson, there's a lot of intrigue, right? There's so much intrigue about it. Those little clips that Mike Tyson has released have been perfect, been absolutely perfect, because they make him look like a bloody monster again. Everyone is on the bandwagon, and I think Roy Jones is almost a perfect opponent. It's a very, very smart matchup, what they've done, and chucking a couple of YouTubers on there as well. I don't know a couple, I say a couple. I don't know if it's Jake Paul and someone else, but Jake Paul's got a massive pool. It's gonna do 1.5 million. Call me crazy. It might even go higher than that. Again, the price point's good. And where we are right now with COVID, I think it's a good time to strike while the iron's hot. And Mike Tyson right now is as hot as he's ever been. Like, Mike Tyson right now is hotter than Mike Tyson's been in the last 20 years. I mean, he's up there with, not as big as he was obviously in the 80s, but close. He's close, right? I mean, Mike Tyson's trending everywhere. So I'm thinking 1.5 million pay-per-view buys. Those of you in America that maybe don't agree, tell me what kind of number you think. Maybe I am exaggerating a bit, but I just think it's going to do crazy numbers. Second thing that's not on this list is I was watching Rob Tebbett interview Eddie Hearn. I do like Rob Tebbett. I love his interview style. And Eddie Hearn was having a little dig, and it came from nowhere really, at Showtime. About, obviously, Showtime released their dates, right? And I think it looked good. There's some good fights on there. But what Eddie Hearn was having a dig at was that Charlo was on pay-per-view. He said Gervonta Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz. Obviously, we all know that's a pay-per-view fight, and that's going to do big numbers as well. I don't know if it will get close to 1 million, but I think anything around 500,000-600,000 is a good number for Gervonta Davis. And he's a star, right? He's a star, no doubt. He will be one of, if he wins, providing he wins, and they match him well in the next couple of years, he will be, I think, the next big pay-per-view guy. But Eddie Hearn had a dig that Charlo was on pay-per-view, saying, I think he was almost like, he laughed like, it's not going to do good numbers, and why is that on pay-per-view? Now, I don't know what Charlo he was referring to. I think, I'm not even sure if both Charlos are on the same pay-per-view, but just different times, like East Coast, West Coast, I don't know. But Jamal Charlo is fighting Derevanchenko. Let's not forget, Jamal Charlo is the WBC middleweight champion. I know it's kind of not real because of Canelo's situation being upgraded to franchise champion. Is it franchise? Yeah, franchise champion. But regardless, Jamal Charlo was an unbeaten middleweight champion. Derevanchenko's solid. And Jamel Charlo's fighting Rosario. And I think there are 3 belts and now the Ring magazine on the line. What one is he dissing there? Eddie Hearn has put way worse pay-per-views on in his career. Like, you can't snigger at that. You can't snigger at that. If Eddie Hearn had Charlo, he's on pay-per-view. he's on pay-per-view, no matter what Eddie Hearn says. Eddie Hearn's only saying this because obviously in America, it's on DAZN, right? So if he had Charlo, it wouldn't be on pay-per-view per se, it'll be DAZN and it'll be sign-ups. If Eddie Hearn had a pay-per-view model in America and he had Eva Charlo, they're on pay-per-view. Especially considering the opponents. Again, Rosario is a world champion, right? Charlo's got his belts back after beating Tony Harrison. That's a pay-per-view fight. I don't know what Eddie, it made me laugh. I was thinking, like, how's that not pay-per-view? Now, I've not seen the full card, and maybe Eddie Hearn's alluding to the card being poor. I've not seen the full card. But again, if Eddie had either of those two guys, they're pay-per-view. Eddie Hearn can't snigger. And he's got to be careful about sniggering about what Showtime are doing, because some people would look at Showtime's, what they've done. Again, people have not, and I've not gone deeper into the full fight cards, but I've been impressed with Showtime's comeback after this COVID period. I think what they've done is solid. And they're giving us their superstar names. All of their names, minus, I mean, they've still got a few big ones that are not fighting yet. Like, we don't know what's going on with Andy Ruiz, for example, but Deontay Wilder's obviously fighting Fury. We're going to talk about Errol Spence, but that's on Fox, so it's slightly different. But I'm talking PBC, really. Errol Spence is fighting Danny Garcia. All their big names are out. The same can't be said about Eddie Hearn right now, right? We still don't know what's going on with Brooke. We still don't know what's going on with Billy Joe Saunders, right? We don't know what's even going on with Callum Smith because of this Canelo thing. So I don't think it's right for him to snigger about what they're doing. For me, it's just a case of concentrate on what you're doing and let's see what you can do. So yeah, let's see what happens. But is there anyone out there that doesn't think that Eva Charlo should be on pay-per-view? I think, look, I don't think they're going to do record-breaking numbers, but I think their next stage was to get on pay-per-view. And I think where they are, you know, I know Jamel Charlo's had a loss to Tony Harrison, but where they are, that's the next step. And again, if Eddie had them, they'll be on pay-per-view. All right, let's have a look at what we got on boxing scene. Let's talk about Eddie Hearn. Katie Taylor motivated to set record straight in rematch with Pursoon. Yeah, I think she will as well. Has there been anything else added to that card yet? Is it still a 4-fight pay-per-view card? I know that that Dillian White's sparring partner's on there, but I don't think he's on the main card, right? I think he's on the prelims or the undercard. Or is he added to make it a 5-fight pay-per-view card? I don't know. We'll have a look at the card in a minute. In fact, let's have a quick look at Eddie Hearn's first one, and let's kind of score it. So again, the main event is Eggington versus Cheeseman. I think that's a good fight. I really do. I think that's going to be a barnstormer, in fact. I think both of them just... Cheeseman's the better boxer, but Eggington only has one gear, and that's gear crazy tempo all the time. All right, let's start from the bottom. We have Dalton Smith, lightweight, 5-0 versus Nathan Bennett, 9-1. That's not a bad matchup. Solid matchup. Fabio Wardley, Dillian White's guy, taking on Simon Vallily. This is for the vacant English heavyweight title. Vallily 17-2. A lot of hype about Fabio Wardley. He's chasing, I'll probably say that the Dave Allens of the world, right? He's trying to get into that kind of mix. Favourite to win. I still think he's undersized for a heavyweight. I don't know. Maybe because right now we're in the land of the giants and he's not a giant. But it'd be good to see what he does. It's always good to see another heavyweight prospect coming up. I think we saw a heavyweight prospect on Frank's card recently, but he's only 2-0. Fabio Wardley's obviously way in front of him, so let's see. Decent fight. This is a good fight. Jordan Gill, 24-1 versus Reece Bellotti, 14-3. I think this is Reece Bellotti's last chance at doing something. If he doesn't win this, then he just kind of falls into that, I don't know, no man's land, where he gets fights, but sort of way on down on the card. James Tennyson versus Gavin Gwynn. That's for the British lightweight title. Tennyson's 26-3. Gavin Gwynn's 12-1. Tennyson's very good. Tennyson's good. Got beat by Tevin Farmer, I think. Let me have a look at his record way back. It was on like a tear of wins. I think something crazy, like 7 or 8 in a row. Yeah, he challenged Tevin Farmer in 2018. Lost, got stopped in that fight But before that, he was on like a 6-fight win streak. Tennyson's a good fighter. That should be a good one. And what else we got? I think it's then just Eggington versus Cheeseman after. 2 secs. So far, that's not that bad. So far, it's not that bad. Yeah, and then Eggington versus Cheeseman. So 5-fight card. Again, the British Boxing Board of Control only allow 5 fights, I'm hearing. Scores on the doors, people, for that. So we got, by the way, Eggington versus Cheeseman is for the IBF International Super Welterweight title. Okay. 7 for what it is, Saturday night. 7. I think that, you know what it is, I think there's some good fights here. I think Gil Belotti's a good fight. I think Tennyson Gwynn is a good fight. Eggington Cheeseman, I know what to expect. Wardley heavyweight fight. It's a decent card. I think 7. I think 7's fair. What do you guys think? Let me know. All right, let's get back to more news. Tony Yoka versus Johan Dupas is set for September 25th in Paris. Decent fight, that. Dupas is always that name. When I think of prospects, Dupas is always that name. There's like a few. There's Dupas, Molina, Tam. I used to say Hellenius, but after Hellenius beat, who did he beat again? Kalnaki. Hellenius is out of that now, but there's like a few gatekeepers, and I think Dupas is that. So let's see what Tony Yoka can do. Hey, USYK CHISORA likely to be rescheduled for some point in October. Okay. Obviously, they're hoping that full crowds are back. There is crowds sort of coming back now. I think there's a rugby match in a couple of weeks where there's going to be a few people there. The Charity Shield or the Community Shield, whatever it's called now, between Liverpool against either Arsenal or Chelsea. There's talking about a crowd there, and that's August. So you're thinking end of October, which is what they're looking at, there might be 10, 12,000, and then it's going to happen, right? O2 Arena, no doubt. USYK, if you watch his little videos that he releases, those crazy little videos, he looks like he knows they've been given a date. So I think it's likely that that happens. I can't wait for that fight. I think that's going to be a good one, man. I really do. If that doesn't happen, then Chisora's got to have a fight in between. If it's literally a case of Chisora is not fighting USYK until December, January, if I'm Chisora, I do, maybe not as tough as what Joe Joyce and Dubois are doing, but I fight. I've got to fight. I've got to get my hands wrapped. I've got to get referees' instructions. I've got to have someone that wants to hurt me. I mean, even, and I wouldn't go this far down, but even like what Yard did when Yard got beat by Kovalev and went to Spain and had a fight, right? You've just got to get in that fighter's mindset. You've got to. Sparring just ain't cutting it. It's just not cutting it, right? You just got to have a real fight. And I wouldn't be shocked if Chisora, maybe not so USYK, because USYK's, the injuries, you don't want to risk it, but I wouldn't be shocked if Chisora has a fight. This is big news, not in stone, but this is massive news, I think. Bob Arum would like to do Pacquiao Crawford November 14th or November 21st. That's huge. That's massive. I mean, he does end it by saying nothing concrete, but even if discussions are happening, and he wouldn't mention those 2 dates unless something has happened behind the scenes. He's not just going to throw it out there just to please Crawford and please us boxing fans. Something's happened. There is a discussion somewhere, and it doesn't surprise me because it has gone cold very quickly. The talk of Mikey Garcia versus PACMAN, or Amir Khan versus PACMAN, and now we know Danny Garcia is likely to get it on with Spence. It makes sense. It really does make sense, and I would be over the moon for Terence Crawford. Over the moon. This is legit as well. It helps Crawford even more. I say Crawford just because I edged to Crawford in this one. It helps Crawford even more because that means if he were to win, he's a double belt holder. Double belt holder. And if he beats, and maybe I'm going too far here, but if he beats PACMAN and and Spence beats Garcia, then that's it, undisputed next year. And then it's a big fight, right? You literally cut off PACMAN's head, you know what I always say, you take half of his power, not all of it, take half of his power, they will chuck it on pay-per-view. Garcia versus Spence is on pay-per-view. Crawford versus Spence 2021 would then become a massive pay-per-view fight, a fight that will draw over 1 million pay-per-view buys. If it works out like that, let's see. And I pray to God Crawford gets his opportunity. I really do. It's not even a case of the opportunity that he beats PACMAN, because I mean, he's beating a 41-year-old PACMAN. You're not going to get any plaudits from me for that. But he needs this fight badly to grow his name, grow his power. And then when you go into the bargaining table with Spence and PBC and Al Heyman, you've got something. And then they'll do it like they've done with Wilder Fury, where it's a 2-fight deal, maybe even a 3-fight deal. I'm not complaining. All right. Aram again news here. Lomachenko-Lopez could air on ESPN, not necessarily pay-per-view. Ooh, that's not good. That's not good. That's a pay-per-view fight, man. I mean, look at me championing pay-per-view. What? It's not that I'm championing it. I just feel like that's a No, that's an undisputed fight. That's If there's any fight out there right now as pay-per-view, it's fucking Teofimo Lopez versus Vasily Lomachenko. That would be surprising. Although that would do fantastic numbers free to air. Yeah, but that's surprising, because you would think he would want to chuck. He's chatting crap. That's pay-per-view. That's definitely pay-per-view. What's this? Tyson Fury. How many times have I... This is just almost repeat. Tyson Fury vows to annihilate Wilder, then Anthony Joshua. I mean, how many... I feel like I'm doing a video of 4 months ago. I feel like he said that so many times. Let's see. What else we got here? Roy Jones talking about fighting Anderson Silva after Mike Tyson. Roy just wants to fight, doesn't he? For those of you that don't know who Anderson Silva is, he is arguably one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time. But he's way past it now. But then again, so is Roy Jones Jr. Gamboa. This is interesting. I saw it a couple of days ago, but I didn't talk about it. Devin Haney on his social media put out there, what does everyone think about me versus Gamboa? To be fair, the responses weren't great. They weren't great at all. Just because Gamboa is coming off a loss, right? Coming off a loss against Gervonta Davis, number 1. Injured himself in that fight again, number 2. And, I mean, he's done. I mean, Gervonta Davis got stick for fighting him. Gervonta Davis got stick for fighting him. And you're talking about fighting him. Do you know what I mean? You look around and you are the WBC lightweight champion. Ryan Garcia is going to fight Luke Campbell. We're going to talk about that. That looks like it's done. Gervonta Davis is going to fight Leo Santa Cruz, although I think that might be at 130. I still don't know that for sure. And Teofimo Lopez is fighting Vasily Lomachenko. So all your peers, the guys that you are kind of saying you're better than and this and that, right? I'm number 1 amongst all the guys coming up fighting tough opposition. And you're saying you're going to fight Gamboa. Nah, not for me. Not for me. What else have we got here? Clarissa Shields. For women, more exposure in UFC than in boxing. I still find this very strange, but she's right. She is right. It's weird how... I still don't get it, how UFC for females is so much bigger, yet it's so much newer. Right? I mean, Dana White, 8 years ago, I think it was, said no females will ever fight in the UFC. Laughed it off like, I ain't having these in here. 8 years later, they're headlining cards. And not just headlining cards, they've got the respect, right? Men tune in to watch female fights. Tune in, like, oh, I can't wait. People tweet. I see, like, hardcore MMA fans tweet about female fights. That the fight of the year, this year in MMA, is a female fight. Wei Lee, versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk is the biggest fight. It was a female fight. But female boxing just hasn't captured the imagination of men. Hasn't, has it? Let's be real. Hasn't at all. So she's right. They do get more exposure. Way more exposure. I'd love to know, though, the money side of it. The biggest name right now in female MMA, Chris Cyborg's at Bellator. So the biggest name in the UFC is Amanda Nunes, who's a champ. She has a belt at 135 and 145. I wonder if she's getting more money than Katie Taylor. I wonder. So Clarissa Shields got to be careful. So yes, more exposure, more money. Not sure. Not sure. What else we got here? So we're not. For Mia on facing Sean Porter, I'm not coming there to lose. I have no idea who that is. So we'll look at this guy. Never heard of him. Feel bad. Don't know him. So we'll look. See, I don't pretend and claim to know all this stuff. Sebastian Formia. What? This can't be the guy. It is the guy. 33-year-old from Germany. Unbeaten. Is the IBO. Okay, how do I not know this? It's embarrassing. The IBO. Oh, I do know him because he beat Tulani and Benge. Okay, he's the IBO world champion at welterweight. 22-0. Okay. Well, looks like Sean isn't going to get Crawford or PACMAN. 22-0, 10 knockouts, 33 though. Never heard of him before. Maybe, but never really heard of him. Let's see if that fight materializes. First I've heard of this fight even happening, if I'm honest with you. I did see something here about a couple of fights being mentioned. Let's see if I can find it. Errol Spence versus, what was it? Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia being done. Let's quickly go onto Mike Coppinger's Twitter page and see if he's got the latest for us. Let's have a look. Mike Coppinger. He's almost come from nowhere, by the way. I don't remember Mike Coppinger 5 years ago. I don't. I remember he was doing a couple of bits and bobs on Fox Sports, but kind of come from nowhere. All right, so he said yesterday, Errol Spence and Danny Garcia have agreed to a welterweight title fight on Fox pay-per-view. So not Showtime, Fox pay-per-view. Sources tell The Athletic. Tentatively set for November, but PBC could shift depending on COVID guidelines related to fans at events. Okay, so they want fans there, hence why November. Interesting. He also goes on to say here that December is the date tentatively set for Fury versus Wilder. And also about the WBC announcing that Ryan Garcia versus Luke Campbell is done, although he says there's no deal yet. But they are looking for a date in the fall. So again, October, November. We are back. Boxing's back, people. I mean, look at that run of fights coming up. I mean, that's massive, right? That's a huge amount of fights coming up. We are hearing as well that Joshua versus Pulev is now likely for December as well. Where, we don't know. I guess it all depends on the numbers that are allowed at events, right? I still think if it's a small amount, just go to the O2 Arena. Just go to the O2 Arena. If you get 10,000, you get 10,000. No doubt Eddie Hearn will try and put ticket prices up. It won't be the usual, I don't know what the cheap seats are, 50, 60 quid. It'll be a bit more than that. My only problem with that, and I think I said this on a video I didn't release actually, I filmed outside the O2 Arena like I did with all the other places like Brick Lane and all that. But the noise, the wind, I didn't really like the way it looked. But I did say that pricing the tickets like that, I think you price out real boxing fans. That the noise from these arenas, if you guys go to them, comes from, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, the cheap seats. The cheap seats are where the noise comes from, the real noise. And people have to, I mean, those are the guys, sorry, that can spend 50, 60 quid. I don't think it's the same people that can spend 100 and 150 quid. I just don't. So I think that's the only problem with you up the prices. I think you're gonna not get the real fans in. 100% true. It's almost like when I go to and just watch sometimes League One football. I mean, obviously the tickets are a lot cheaper and the noise is incredible. You still get noise from Premier League grounds, but it's not the same. It's not the same when you go to watch League One and League Two matches. I mean, the noise those guys make is unreal. And I feel that's what I think that's what Eddie's going to do. He's going to price out the real fans if, and it's still never, if he does make tickets more expensive. He joked about it, and I don't think he joked. I think he was just putting it out there. I don't think, there's a bit of truth in every joke, as my mum says. All right, what else we got here before we wrap up? What's this? Don King talking here. We're not going to listen to what Don King's saying right now. The California State Athletic Commission, Foster, expresses regret over Sinister Estrada's 7-second KO of Adkins. I done a video about this. I was outraged by it, if I'm honest with you. I know a lot of people have said it wasn't the first choice opponent for Estrada. So basically, I don't think it was even a second choice opponent or even the third choice opponent. Well then, if it gets to that stage where you're having to go that far deep, just cancel the fight. Put her on another DAZN card. What's the problem? What is the problem? And the other thing I'm hearing about the lady that she fought, by the way, is that lady's promoter is her husband, who happened just to basically, without sounding too bad here, just got her the fight she can win just to get her a winning record. Like literally pulled girls off the street, right? Most of her fights were debuts, pulled girls off the street, get a winning record, and that's how she got to 5-0. Because I think we all saw in that fight, she can't fight. She was, I don't think I've ever seen, and I've watched thousands like you guys have, boxing matches. I know it was only 7 seconds, but even just the first 2, you could see she was terrified. It's almost like I've been fighting girls that are on their debuts off the street, and you've put me in with a 18-0 killer. So yeah, that wasn't good. I think that's it, people. Yeah, our last bit here. WBC Prez, Mauricio Sulaiman, blown away by level of interest in Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. I have said at the start of this video, I think it does 1.5 million pay-per-view buys. And with Mauricio Sulaiman saying it blows him away, the level of interest, I think we all know, let's be honest, you know what's coming? A WBC belt. They're going to make something for them too. I don't know. I don't know. My only thing is, if Mike Tyson does look good for a couple of rounds and knocks Roy Jones Jr. out, and let's be honest, we have seen Roy Jones Jr. succumb to that in his last couple of fights. I'm about to say so is Mike there, but Mike's been on his ass as well. But Roy Jones' knockouts have been bad. Like the one against Enzo Americanelli just springs to mind. But I think Mike will fight again. I think Mike will fight again. If he knocks out Roy Jones, he's going to fight again. And I wouldn't be shocked if it's a... Look, especially if he makes $25 million. Like, if he makes that kind of money, of course he's going to fight again. Of course he's going to fight again. And he'll fight someone like a Shannon Briggs, make a bit more money. That's what's going to happen. This isn't no one-off exhibition fight. If Mike feels good, looks good for a couple of rounds, lights out Mike, knocks out Roy Jones Jr., this story will continue. It will continue. And it's interesting because I feel like Mike's comeback is overshadowing a lot of other boxing things that are going on. Right? A lot of other fights aren't getting as much notice because of Mike. Strange. Or is it? Or does it show where boxing is right now? I don't know. I don't think it does. I think it's just because it's Mike. Just because it's Mike and just because of the way they market it and those little 30-second clips. Anyway, guys, that is it. It's very, very late. Very, very late. We are gone. Peace.